In Greek mythology, few names inspired as much fear as Medusa's. Her fame was terrifying. Anyone who looked directly at her face was instantly turned to stone, petrified by the power of her gaze. Because of this, she became the target of many warriors who believed that capturing her head would be a great achievement, a trophy of immense value. But no one imagined the real dangers in trying to face her. Many who set out on this quest underestimated her power and met an unfortunate fate, turned into stone statues. Medusa became a true challenge for those seeking to prove their courage and bravery. Though many saw her as a monster, Medusa was not always a feared creature. Most people are unaware of the tragic layers and injustices that marked her life before her transformation. Medusa's story is filled with beauty, dedication, and the cruelty of the gods. Let's dive into the story of this enigmatic figure, from her origins to her transformation into one of the most feared creatures of ancient Greece. Before being seen as a monster, Medusa was known for her unparalleled beauty. She was one of the three Gorgon sisters, but unlike her sisters, Stheno and Euryale, who were immortal and monstrous, Medusa was mortal and possessed a captivating appearance. Her parents, Phorcys and Ceto, were primordial sea gods, making Medusa a rare blend of human and divine traits. Medusa's beauty was so striking that she became an object of adoration among mortals. Many men were drawn to her, not only for her physical allure but also for the mystery she represented. Her hair was particularly famous, said to shine in the sun like strands of gold, attracting admiring glances from all who saw her. Medusa, however, was not an ordinary woman. Her dedication and loyalty were devoted to the goddess Athena. Medusa held a deep respect for Athena, and this devotion led her to take a vow of purity, deciding to remain a virgin in honor of the goddess. She served as a priestess in Athena's temple, living with humility and commitment, drawing visitors who came both to venerate the goddess and to see the stunning young priestess. However, this very beauty would become the catalyst for a dark fate that awaited her. As a priestess of Athena, Medusa led a life of devotion, upholding her vows of purity and dedication. Her presence in the temple represented a sacred connection between the mortal and divine worlds. For Medusa, this devotion was not just a choice but an expression of her love and respect for the goddess Athena, whom she admired deeply. Her loyalty and commitment to the goddess were so strong that she stood out among the other priestesses, known for her purity and beauty. However, this beauty began to draw unwanted attention. Visitors from across the kingdom came to the temple not only to worship Athena but also to see Medusa, whose radiant features and hair became the subject of comments and comparisons. Some even said her beauty rivaled Athena's own, something the goddess eventually began to notice. Athena, goddess of wisdom and war, was respected for her virtues but also known for her severity and pride. The growing comparisons between her beauty and Medusa's stirred a silent resentment within her. After all, Medusa was mortal, and such comparisons seemed an affront to her divine status. Over time, Athena observed how her priestess attracted admiration, and this jealousy would plant the seed of a tragic fate for Medusa. While Medusa continued her life of devotion in the temple, Poseidon, the powerful god of the sea, became enchanted by her beauty. One day, while walking along the shore, Poseidon spotted Medusa and was instantly captivated by her. His interest, however, was not driven by love but by a desire for possession and, perhaps, a provocation against Athena, with whom he held an ancient rivalry. Medusa, loyal to her vows, rejected Poseidon's advances. She sought refuge in Athena's temple, believing the goddess would protect her. However, Poseidon was determined, and in an act of disrespect toward both Medusa and Athena, he forced his way into the temple and took her by force. This act not only violated Athena's sacred space but also shattered the purity Medusa held dear. Athena, upon witnessing what had happened, was furious. Yet instead of directing her anger toward Poseidon, she turned her wrath upon Medusa, as if she were responsible for the desecration of her temple. This moment would mark a transformation in Medusa's life, as the goddess, in her anger, decided the cruel fate that awaited her. Feeling betrayed and shamed by what had happened in her temple, Athena decided to punish Medusa. Instead of recognizing that Medusa had been the victim of a brutal act, Athena blamed her for the desecration of her sanctuary. In an act of extreme severity, the goddess turned Medusa's beauty into a dreadful curse. Athena touched Medusa's hair, transforming it into venomous snakes, live serpents that coiled around her head, hissing and baring their sharp fangs. Her face, once adored, now bore a powerful curse. Anyone who looked directly at Medusa would be turned to stone. This punishment not only kept Medusa isolated from all human contact, but condemned her to a life of complete solitude. Medusa, once a beautiful priestess devoted to serving the goddess, was transformed into a feared and solitary creature. Her life was marked by injustice, and her existence became a constant reminder of how the gods could be cruel and unforgiving in their judgments. From then on, Medusa was forced to live in hiding, with a power that repelled all who came near. News of Medusa's transformation quickly spread throughout Greece, and she became known as a monstrous figure whose gaze could kill anyone. To many, she became a true legend, but to others, she represented an opportunity for glory and conquest. Warriors from all over began to seek Medusa, determined to capture her head as a trophy, a symbol of courage and bravery. Medusa, however, was no ordinary creature. Her ability to turn anyone who crossed her gaze into stone made her an unbeatable adversary. Those who attempted to confront her met the same fate, petrified, transformed into stone statues, silent witnesses to their own audacity. Medusa's isolation deepened with each new attempt to hunt her down, and she found herself living a solitary existence, marked by loneliness and relentless pursuit. Over time, Medusa's figure became increasingly feared and misunderstood. She was seen as a creature to be defeated, but few remembered the woman she once was and the tragedy that led to her transformation. Medusa was no longer a priestess. She was a mortal challenge, hunted incessantly by those seeking glory. Perseus, the demigod son of Zeus, was tasked with an almost impossible mission: to retrieve Medusa's head. Facing a creature who could turn anyone to stone seemed an insurmountable challenge, but Perseus was aided by the gods, who equipped him with special tools for this dangerous task. Ironically, Athena provided Perseus with a highly polished bronze shield, which reflected Medusa's gaze like a mirror. Hermes, the messenger of the gods, gave him winged sandals, allowing him to fly swiftly. Hades, the god of the underworld, gifted him a helmet that made him invisible, enabling him to approach undetected. Finally, Perseus received a sharp sword capable of decapitating Medusa. Using the shield as a mirror, Perseus approached Medusa while she slept, avoiding a direct gaze. With a precise strike, he decapitated Medusa, ending her tragic life. Yet even in death, Medusa's power continued. From her severed neck sprang the winged horse Pegasus and the warrior Chrysaor. Perseus carried Medusa's head with him, using it in future adventures and even to defeat the Titan Atlas, as a symbol of protection and power. Medusa's story is one of tragedy and injustice. She reminds us that those seen as monsters often carry stories of suffering and abandonment, and that great power is not always something sought. Medusa was a devoted priestess who fell victim to divine rivalries and vanities. Her transformation reflects the harsh punishments and unjust judgments that even the gods could impose. Medusa teaches us the importance of looking beyond appearances and judging with compassion. Though she became a feared figure, she was a victim who never chose the fate imposed upon her. Her story also reminds us that power, when wielded unjustly, can bring suffering but can also leave a legacy of strength. If you enjoyed learning about the true story of Medusa, subscribe to the channel, like the video, and share in the comments which other mythological stories or themes you'd like to see here. Your support helps keep these narratives alive